Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
North Dakota continues to ramp up the number of COVID-19 tests being done, with more than 1,900 tests being completed since yesterday. North Dakota is reporting 56 more cases of COVID-19 in the state, bringing the total to 803 positive cases. 310 people are listed as recovered. There are now 16 deaths, with one more since yesterday, a 90-year-old man from Cass County with underlying health issues. 17 people are currently in the hospital in the state of North Dakota. And more than 1,000 people were tested in Fargo today for COVID-19 as the North Dakota Department of Health and the National Guard teamed up for a mass testing event at the Fargo Dome. Today's testing allowed any essential workers, people who are symptomatic, or those who have come into contact with someone who has COVID-19 to get tested. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly explains how this will impact Fargo and our region going forward, and what the health officials are hoping to learn.
Cars filed into the Fargo Dome parking lot filled with people to be tested for the novel coronavirus.
We have capacity to do a little bit over 1,000.
This is the largest mass testing event in North Dakota so far.
We're targeting different populations and identifying whether or not they have COVID or whether their exposure to COVID is indeed going to make them test positive. So the hope is, the governor's been saying since day one, we want to try to flatten that curve. And the more we test, the more we'll know where COVID is.
Adam says being able to diagnose people will help provide better surveillance of the disease. And then this data can be used by experts to fight COVID-19.
With the ultimate goal of getting North Dakota back to some normalcy and helping get the economy open, but also ensuring that we're identifying sick individuals in the community so that they can provide the right type of self-commitment to protect others, so we're not spreading this illness to more vulnerable individuals.
Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says the test results will help determine the dynamic of our community and can be used to make decisions about how the city will be able to move forward.
April 30th, theoretically, we're going to open up bars and restaurants, and he's going to take this data and put it in a skill set, or put it in a setting, and see what it means. Will change that, or will give a different dynamic for our community?
Experts say these tests will provide insight into how the disease is impacting the Fargo area and allow officials to make educated decisions as they choose what happens next. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
All of the tests today were free, and officials hope people can expect their results in 24 to 72 hours. It was a beautiful day in Bismarck as friends and family welcomed Kenny Somber home today with a drive-by party. The 73-year-old Bismarck man spent more than a month in the hospital fighting the coronavirus. His unbelievable story started in March when he traveled to Maryland for the National Curling Championships. It was on his way home he first started to feel the symptoms. He is home now, though, and his family says he's doing well, but he's still got a long road to recovery, currently in a wheelchair with physical therapy in his future. Kenny says his symptoms included a fever and body aches and a loss of taste. He spent 11 days on a ventilator. In Minnesota, the state is reporting 23 more deaths from the coronavirus, bringing the state's total to 244. Right now, 283 patients are in the hospital, with 109 of those in the ICU. Over 56,000 people have been tested, with nearly 3,500 positive cases. 1,654 patients are listed as no longer needing to be isolated. The Cass County State's Attorney announced they will not be filing charges against Dean Gehring, the Argusville man who euthanized his horse by gunshot, saying Gehring was within his rights. After investigating, the state's attorney concluded Gehring's actions were justified, noting the fence surrounding the property where the horse was living was in such disrepair the horse could have escaped onto the interstate. Back in February, the Cass County Sheriff's Department conducted a search of Gehring's property off of I-29, where they found the horse was lacking food, water, and adequate shelter. The sheriff's office said they would help Gehring rehome the horse, but Gehring chose to euthanize the horse instead. The state's attorney said that this was a difficult decision, but concluded that no crime was committed.
Just because there's bad behavior in a case or questionable behavior doesn't always mean I can prove a criminal case. make no mistake, we wish this had turned out differently. We wish he had handled this differently. We were well aware of the history in this case, and we looked at that closely.
Documents obtained by Valley News Live say it took multiple shots to euthanize the 2-year-old horse. Despite this, the state's attorney found it to be an acceptable form of euthanasia. The report also states that if Gehring wants to have animals on the property in the future, he must fix the fencing, among other things. Well, a car ended up in the ditch just off Highway 75 in South Moorhead tonight as part of a single vehicle crash. No one was hurt in the rollover, with just minor injuries being reported. Minnesota Highway Patrol told Valley News Live troopers observed signs of suspected alcohol impairment from the driver when they arrived on scene. The driver was placed under arrest for suspicion of driving while impaired and taken to the Clay County Jail. The incident remains under investigation. And while many businesses have shut their doors, grocery stores remain open as an essential service. But there is concerns over the safety of these workers. Valley News Team's Alexandra Kay spoke to a Fargo grocery store on its decision to only do delivery or curbside pickup amid the coronavirus pandemic.
By the looks of the parking lot of Fargo Fresh, you wouldn't guess that no one is coming into the store. Located along 45th Street South, it's a grocery store that sells Indian and Middle Eastern foods. As the coronavirus pandemic was spreading, the owners of Fargo Fresh say they were aware of how easily the virus could spread behind its doors.
How people shop for groceries, you pick up items, you put it back, you touch carts, and there's just a lot of contact that goes on there. So we're thinking, okay, how do we be safer about this?
Fargo Fresh has launched what they're calling corona-free grocery shopping. How it works is customers call in their orders, park their cars, and their items are rolled out to them.
Throughout that process, there's almost no contact.
Saravana says that his family noticed from the start of the outbreak that grocery stores are a place where people will continue to congregate. He says they wanted to protect their employees and shoppers from getting the infectious disease. Although the change was initially challenging for customers, the idea has caught on.
Because I feel safe, It's not like I feel like not exposed to when I'm coming and getting the groceries, and then they're doing all the safety measures.
Saravana says they hope that other small businesses see this as an example of leadership, as opposed to following big box retailers and what they're doing.
As small businesses, we can innovate, we can bring out ideas that maybe others haven't considered. We can make our own little idea or our own strategy towards navigating tough situations.
Saravana says the phone has been ringing, and even with the change, he says they're filling about 100 orders a day. In Fargo, Alexandra Kay, Valley News Live.
Fargo Fresh says they will continue to use this new shopping method until it is safe to open their doors back up again.